I've got to stop eating Haribo sweets.
I've had 3 Percy pigs. They're staring at me saying, you pig, you pig.
This is like that scene in Clueless where she's like, I'm totally Ralphing. I had like 5 M&Ms.
Oh.
I love Clueless.
I know, me too.
Me too.
I think I could watch that again.
I think I might go and watch it again.
You're
It's
just
the
a
best.
virgin.
Yeah,
Can't
drive. I love it.
I never thought football would have the impact it's had on my life.
Not only are we mothers, we're mothers of daughters. Reading some of these stats about the dropout is quite alarming.
How long before you learnt the words?
Oh, really quickly.
Did you?
Oh, I took it very seriously.
Yeah.
Now I've seen the plans, actually, I'm like, do you know what? Knock it down and build it again. Like, oh my gosh, you must have interviewed like David Beckham and this person. I was like, but they weren't my heroes and idols growing up.
Hello, I'm Kelly Cates and welcome to our show, Not Just Football. Alongside me, Christine Lampard and Hayley McQueen. And as the title suggests, we're not here to break down the game. That's done elsewhere. What we're here to do is to talk about the impact the game has on us, on the wider society and away from our day-to-day jobs as well.
So Hayley, tell me, what do you think about your beloved Old Trafford getting a facelift?
No.
Potentially.
I know. Well, here's me
Rebuilt
thinking,
entirely.
I know, knock it down, build it again, absolutely not. But I've changed my mind. Now I've seen the plans. Actually, I'm like, do you know what? Knock it down and build it again. Go on, go. Yeah. Originally, I was like, okay, it's been there since 1910. And again, with Dad having played for United, and I can look back slightly nostalgically thinking, oh, you know, Dad played there. He played on that hallowed turf. That's where Dad played his football. I was like, oh, that's been and gone now. And that's lovely. And we can remember that. It's never going to be the same, is it? But when you look at other stadiums, particularly like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
The Everton one's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's keeping up with the Joneses, and you just have to look what Man City have done and the regeneration of the area, and that is like worlds away from what it used to be where that land was. I went to Main Road on one of their last ever games, working as a runner, heading to fly up onto the gantry to get Gary Neville his hot chocolate.
How does he like it?
Yeah, as long
Certain
as it's
temperature?
hot chocolate, not tea, not coffee. I don't know if he drinks coffee now, but he was a
Yeah,
hot
he drinks
chocolate
coffee.
drinker. Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay. He's changed. But they made me climb up those ladders, and I remember at the time just thinking, oh, like, well, you know, we've got Manchester, we've got Old Trafford. They're never going to be anywhere near that. They can only but try. And of course, you can't just keep clinging on to the past either. Yeah, the stadium's been there since 1910, and there's a lot of history to it.
But it's not the same as it was in 1910. It's gone through so
course
many
not.
changes since then. It's just that it's the site, really, isn't it? That's
And when you've gone somewhere like the Allianz Arena, and it's kind of the remodel of it looks a little similar to that. I'm like, do you know what? I want a piece of the pie. And when you listen to Andy Burnham really campaigning, and Gary Neville as well, of course, being part of that, and actually explaining what it's going to bring to the area of Manchester too, I think really, really importantly, 17,000 new homes created, allegedly. They could bring 7.3 billion a year to the British economy, which is unbelievable. It'll be an entertainment hub as well.
I wish I'd invested in a hotel in the area.
Yeah, well, funny that,
I
yeah.
know.
1.8 million visitors per year, all staying in, well, some of them staying in Gary's hotel and the surrounding areas. But yeah, I just think, look, it could be the biggest regeneration scheme in the country, according to Andy Burnham. That's me using his words, and I'm fully in. I'm
You're
invested.
right about Man City, though, because even when we were up there, it was just unreal.
Yeah.
And every time we've gone back since the regeneration has pushed itself out the whole time. It's fantastic. You can feel it, you know, in all of the training grounds for the female players as well as the youngsters. It's just like, it is mind blowing. Well, remember there was being a big discussion about Chelsea shifting from Stamford Bridge, and this is quite a few years ago, and I think there's still things being discussed, but it was going to potentially go to Battersea
talk about Earl's
Power
Court
House
as well,
and then
don't
Earl's
they?
Court.
Yeah.
But then there was lots of legal things, and I think fans were up in arms as well, and could they not try and extend where they were? And so it's all of that going on, because you can't help but have that tie. There is a bit of a tie when it's a club that you've grown up in, and you know your granddad went, your dad went.
When you've stood in the shed end,
stood sang your heart out. You know, there's an attachment. So I get it where fans.
So
are
when you
coming
went
from.
to the shed end, How long before you learnt the words?
Oh, really quickly.
Did you?
Oh, I took it very seriously.
Yeah. Did you study before you went?
I've obviously watched a lot of games, and then I thought, but I think it's maybe my ear had not tuned into football chants before, Frank. Probably for the best from 98% of them. But I definitely, when I was there, I knew the kind of the hardcore ones.
Yeah.
I don't mean necessarily just the simple swearing ones, which we all know, but the actual proper sing-along ones. I did learn them, and I thought, I'm part of this now.
Yeah.
This
There
is
you
it.
go. Yeah.
I have been accepted.
You've learnt the words.
You got to know the words or you don't go. Yeah.
That's so good. I love the idea of you front and centre.
Front and centre.
Everybody coming over. That Christine Lampard is here. I tell you what, she's a lovely woman. She's got a terrible mouth on her.
Filthy. Absolutely filthy.
No, I'll not go there. Yeah. all of the above. Yeah. All of the above.
You've had some great times, obviously, watching Frank as well. Some games must stand out more than others for different reasons than sort of your regular fan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think when there's obviously a emotional attachment to someone on the pitch, you know, because every single kick of the ball means so much to your life away from the pitch, because obviously they hold on to everything that happens in those 90 minutes and beyond. But it's just so many incredible moments. Like really throughout we've been together coming up 16 years. Oh, God. And so whether it was him playing or indeed then into management as well, I never thought football would have the impact it's had on my life. That's just being completely honest. You know, back in the day it was just a game.
Yeah.
And then when you realise it's much more than just a game, it then infiltrates everything. And you care, you start really, really caring. But wonderful moments and big moments in stadiums, like I've talked about before, obviously the Champions League final in Munich. That was like breathtakingly beautiful. And the stadium itself was beautiful. I started to really appreciate stadiums. Weirdly, you know, you go in, you think, oh, this is nice.
I tell you what I don't get though. I can appreciate it beautiful. The Tottenham one, that kind of continuous stand is just incredible. And I went to watch AJ Usyk fight there, and it's just cool. It was just stunning, just absolutely gorgeous. But I tell you what I don't get football shirts. You know, people get really excited and they go, oh, have you seen the new whatever? And it's amazing and that's the one I'm going to get. They don't appeal to me at all. And it's a thing now, like my girls are quite kind of into them. It's like a teenage girl thing at the moment. Did you ever not buy shirts or wear shirts or anything?
But I love a retro shirt. I love going back and it being a moment in time of a particular shirt, of an era or of a player that you can picture.
Then, isn't it? Yeah.
But not like now, if I wore this season's United kit, I wouldn't really wear a United kit, but it would stand out too much. But if I wore last season's, I wouldn't think, I can't wear this because it's last season's shirt. Which some people absolutely will not. That's it, they're done, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember Chelsea having, obviously the blue, but they had a little red trim. And I think, if my memory's correct, it was a nod to the Chelsea pensioners. Right. And Frank has a couple of those shirts at home, and I remember really liking it for that reason. Yeah. But weirdly, I mean, again, I wouldn't have paid attention to football. I thought they were the same every year. I was so, ignorant before meeting him.
Now it's a different level of change.
But now it's my little boy, who's only 3.5, knows every single one of them. And he loves his Bayern Munich kit.
Crazy.
His Man City one. He's not allowed Man United. And Chelsea. And who else has he got? Inter Milan, I think.
Yeah. So he got Real Madrid. Yeah.
Got Madrid. So, and he knows every one of them. And he'll go, no, I want my Bayern Munich one. And you're like, he's 3. Yeah. So it starts so young, and it means so much then, doesn't it?
Definitely. I do. My nephew used to do that. He used to sit down with a team sheet in front of him, and he was sitting with my sister, and he was like, he looked down the team sheet. He wasn't reading at the time, and he went down. He went, Firmino's not playing. My sister, how do you know? Do you even recognise his name? And he went, no, there's no number 9. And he just did it all by squad number. Yeah, so he knew every player and every kind of squad number for them.
Noel Gallagher's thing with Man City, the kit that he's designed.
The Oasis kit.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, I have to say.
I tell you what I do like about that. I like the advertising campaign where they've
so
gone into the front room to do it.
That was so good.
That was good. Yeah. It's like trying to work out who's who. Like, Kyle Walker.
It's so good. Exactly. It just sucks you in, though. You're like, I like that kit. I'm in.
It was.
Right, I want to bring this up because one of the things that I guess links us all, not only are we mothers, we're mothers of daughters. And we work in the sporting world. You're very much immersed into the sporting world. We all want our children to be healthy, first and foremost, but what comes with that is fitness and sport and exercise. I don't care whether my little one plays football. I just want her to do something that she enjoys, and hopefully the exercise is kind of part of that. But just reading some of these stats about the dropout of young females of certain ages pretty much turning their backs on sports, team sport, is quite alarming. So we'd looked at the Global Sustainable Sport UNESCO study, revealing a huge dropout rate amongst girls. 49% of adolescent girls drop out of sports participation. More than 1 in 5 women athletes, that's 21%, have suffered at least one form of sexual abuse as a child in sport. Now, the latter is a much more serious topic, and of course there are concerns around safeguarding and where we're sending our children to and who they're going to be with. And of course we all want them to be in a safe space, but how do we make our young women feel that doing sport is just an acceptable thing and that playing football as a girl is pretty cool? And you've seen the Lionesses, and surely that's a role model enough, Kelly.
I'm not sure. I think the Lionesses are fantastic, and for any young girl who's already into football, I think the Lionesses are huge role models. But I still think in playgrounds, my girls are older than yours, but I still think when they were even in the playgrounds, the girls weren't playing football. It's the boys who before school and at break time and at lunchtime are kicking the ball around. And if you're a girl who's brilliant at football, then you're included. But the ones who aren't are still not getting involved at that level. And I think that's where the issue is. I think elite sport or girls who are brilliant at sport will always be fine and they'll always get on with it. But I think it's that entry level, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think girls, and again, massive generalization, I think girls are more worried about not getting it right. So boys will just go and kick a ball around and have fun and play with their mates, and girls sort of go into it and think, oh, how am I doing this? Is this actually, where should I be and what do I need to do? And if they get something wrong, they worry about it much more, I think. And then they don't want to look stupid in front of the boys who all know what they're doing, I think. As part of it anyway, I think.
It's so difficult, isn't it? It's interesting when there's big sporting things on the telly, like the Olympics, for instance. And I had the Olympics on the whole time. And I was obsessed with gymnastics, as I always was as a little girl. And actually, weirdly, I did do gymnastics until about the age of 8, and then give it up, exactly like you were just saying. And I was never going to be a natural gymnast, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I sort of just outgrew it. So I wonder whether if someone had kept me at it, just stick with it. Like, because my parents were not intending me to become a gymnast, and I had no intention either. But I think it does need a bit of parental kind of pushing sometimes if the child isn't. Like Frank talks about it all the time. There were loads of moments when he was younger, and he always loved football, but he also loved cricket and played cricket and really adored playing it. But it was very much his parents kind of made him stick with football and pushed him into it. But there were loads of moments where I thought, I quite like to do cricket. Yeah. And he was at that sort of fork in the road almost. But I think sometimes parents can have a huge influence if they're willing to drive your children to whatever the classes are.
And able to drive them as well, with work and with
potentially afford
and if they don't
it.
have a car.
Or there's lots of things, unless it's completely on your doorstep and it's easy, or the schools accommodate it in a really easy way. And then you often think back, and I joke with friends, we could all have a conversation about the what ifs. What if I'd taken up golf when I was 10? I might have been brilliant.
You could have been, you don't know.
I might have been.
Yeah.
Look at loads of Northern Irish people, they love golf. We've got great
You should
courses.
do it now.
Who knew? But I'll never know. I never tried.
Yeah, but how many working mothers do you know play golf?
Well,
that's true.
Let's face it.
Not a lot of time in the day, is there?
The opportunity to try different things. I might have found something as a kid that I thought, I do like this. And, it's all about trial and error and then being pushed to do it and having the ability to do it.
But do you know what? I did that thing where you drop out of sport in your sort of early teens and just sort of gave everything up. And partly it was down to the fact that they then decide, you get to an age where they go, want you to give up your weekends and come in early on a Saturday morning and come and do. And I was like, well, I don't really think this is for me.
That's it.
But I think, I don't know where role models would fit into that. So I think role models are really important for, you know, girls who want to go on and become successful sports people themselves. Do you think there's a role for role models as well in terms of just getting girls to be active in a non-competitive way?
I think
even
an everyday role model, so not just your whoever it may be, your Leah Williamson or whoever it could be that the girls are looking up to. It's your if you've seen your mum exercising, if you've seen your mum go to yoga, carrying her mat under, running off to Pilates, going swimming, going for a jog, you see your auntie doing something, you see the women around you that you looked, that if that's just part of their everyday life and they're carrying it on through adulthood, why not a young female who at 14 carries it on through adolescence? I know a lot of that's probably down to body changes. I remember when it was like roundabout time of the month and I wouldn't want to do any sport and I'd shy away. And I remember my body changing as well. And everyone, you know, it changes at different before you're like, oh my God, I've got boobs. I've got to get changed. I'm too like embarrassed. I need to get like the right underwear for this. It's even those tiny little things, and people are more body aware now. I think back then I was definitely more body conscious. Now I couldn't give a damn. Did whatever in whatever. And I'm not doing it to lose weight. It's just to be fit and it's to be healthy. But it's having those. I've got friends who do. I'm like, oh God, my friend's coming in to the gym before she's even at work. I'm like, oh God, I've got to take a leaf out of her book because she can do it. I should be doing that.
I'm
you know?
so jealous of people like that.
Or morning people.
Oh my gosh, you know when you go, oh yeah, no, I was up at 5 and had the gym done by 6. What?
Yeah.
What?
But lie in bed.
Yeah, but I think you're built that way or you're not. You're a morning person or you're not.
And I'm just painfully jealous of anyone that is, because I wish I was.
And I think for that's why I think for my two who are not, you know, ever going to take sport up professionally, but they both play in sports teams and they both go to out of school sports lessons and they both go and, you know, learn, you know, both go and do extra netball or tennis or whatever it is. And I sort of think there is real value in them learning a skill that they aren't brilliant at. Learning something that they can just get better at. That's kind of I nicked it off Michelle Obama because she said with her girls, she kind of used to do a thing where they'd have 3 extracurricular activities, one that they chose, one that she chose, and one that they were good at but they didn't enjoy. And because she said it's important that they learn the value of progress even at something you don't like, because that's a really good life skill apart from anything else.
That's actually brilliant. I loved netball at school. That was my sport. If I had to choose one, it would have been netball. And strangely, when I first came to London, they had like a bit of a media TV league. And it was when I was on the One Shows, we had our team, our netball team, and we played at Westfield there underneath the bridge, whatever that motorway is. And it was brilliant. And we did it once a week and it was a proper fitness thing, but it was also a complete social thing. And it's a lovely thing to have. I mean, of course, we're not entering any competitions, but it was a real lovely kind of hour and a half, and then you'd maybe go for a drink after. But it was just that lovely kind of connection between girls that you had never met before. And it was a lovely sort of thing to do. So I'm actually really grateful I was at least able to know the rules of one game.
No, some of my mum's friends started doing, 9 and wine. So they'd go and play 9 holes of golf and then stop for a glass of wine after. I was like, that appeals to me. That my mum doesn't play golf, by the way. She just went for the wine. No, she didn't do the 9. She just did the wine.
We have Pilates and Prosecco
not even the walk.
in
She
our
didn't
town
even
hall.
go around with them.
Yeah, in the village hall across from us, Pilates and Prosecco.
That's
brilliant.
What would your vision be for Ayla? I mean, she's only young, but what would you want for her from sport?
I would quite like her to play football, just because I think it's been in our family for generations, and I'm not saying she's going to be a professional footballer, but I think, it's a little something that she can carry through and be really proud of, probably like your two, in that she carries the name, she's got my surname. And I love it when they've got that little name on the back of her shirt. I'm like, this is just so cute. And to like play football with boys, play football, like be an equal And I think that carries on as well outside of sport, doesn't it, as well?
My little girl won her running race this year. Now, she was 5 at that stage, obviously. But it was so funny beforehand. Frank came down and was talking to her like he was giving her a proper pep talk. And you keep looking forward now. Don't look at your feet. And I was like, please shut up. She's 5 years old. It really doesn't matter. But then as the race started, I thought, well, it does matter a little bit. I hope she does okay. And then she did. She won, and she had to stand on a little podium at the end. And she really enjoyed it. She's so shy. She hates any kind of centre of attention stuff at all. So she was really awkwardly standing, getting her little medal. But she loved the running. Okay. And we've tried to stick with that since. So it sounds basic, but okay, let's go for a run. And we'll do little races in the park. And I'm just from a fitness point of view and just general sport in school, I think it's really important. And she's like just turned 6. So I think you start them as young as you can and find something they like.
Yeah, and
ideally.
It's just meeting them where they are, and as long as they're kind of enjoying it, and then if they're improving as well, they get a satisfaction from that. My sister went to tennis camp once when she was really little, and my mum and dad had been driving her in, picking her up at the end of it, and it was all. And she came back on like day 3 or 4. It was like the Wednesday or the Thursday. And she got in the car and they had, did you have a nice time? She said, I've had the best day. I think I've really got this now. And they went, what happened? What did you do? She went, I hit it.
What
the hell have you been doing for the rest of the week? She was just like beside herself with it. But look, probably talking of tennis, Serena is like she's the one, isn't she?
Yeah,
I mean, just everything, every record. And just that combination of power and elegance and brilliance. And I think it goes back to what you were saying, Hayley, about, what you can learn from female role models and that sense of being equal and that sense of being enough, because I think that's what Serena showed, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I've luckily been to Wimbledon and watched both Serena and Venus, and it's just like you're watching this super force, and there was such a buzz and excitement. And for so many years, I mean, tennis is great because it is very equal. I've seen Maria Sharapova. I mean, like back in the day when you kind of used to look up to like your Anna Kournikova, because like she's glamorous and she's great at tennis.
Steffi Graf is my one.
And look who she's married to. Your Annabelle Crofts and all these incredible women. And I mean, I am terrible at tennis. I'm really bad with the whole ball skills, but that's a story for another day. There's a paddle team at Sky. I'm like, I'm just having to be busy on all those days. I can't handle.
Paddle's taken over the world.
But if I'm not good at it, I don't want to be part of it. I'm just like,
that's what I said at the beginning.
If I can't,
girls and women don't want to do things that they feel that they're not good at. They don't want to make a fool of themselves.
That's it. But yeah, just watching other females, just absolutely boss. To me, I didn't grow up with that. I grew up. My idol was Sally Gunnell. So she was like my absolute hero.
Yeah.
So, were you a hurdler?
I was a hurdler.
Because you're tall, aren't you?
Scared to hurdle, too scared. Mary Peters, or Lady Mary Peters from back home, who, of course, it was in Munich, wasn't it? And she won the pentathlon. And I think it was one of the biggest records in British athletics, certainly, and since. And I was lucky enough, I've met her a few times, and I actually just met her last week. I had gone back home to do this sort of an event thing, and she was there, and she's 85 now.
Wow.
And she walked in, she looks beautiful, and she was looking, she was all glam, and she was just fantastic. And I thought, you are an absolute reason why I would love to have that. Her physique's fantastic, and clearly she's looked after herself all these years. Fitness was her life, and there she is at 85, looking fantastic. And I just thought, you are my woman. And I remember her always being a hero at home, and still
also
is.
There's people like Fatima Whitbread, Simone Biles particularly.
But she's my current love.
They've both been able to come out and talk about things. That it's almost like that physical strength comes with an emotional strength sometimes.
Absolutely.
That I think is really
Simone, without a doubt,
important. Yeah, I think it's been
Liz McColgan, that was the other one, and her
and
daughter
now
now.
Eilish.
So I was like, it's kind of followed in her mother's footsteps as well. But I remember she came to the school to do some kind of like prize giving award, and I was just like, it was just the most exciting thing. And even now people ask, who have you interviewed? Like, oh my gosh, you must have interviewed like David Beckham and this person. I was like, but they weren't my heroes and idols growing up. And there may have been a couple. It was like, Elizabeth Colgan came to my school in primary 6.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But also even you know, the way that women's football has changed and the awareness of female footballers now. We were at an event and the girls were there and Jill Scott was there and she was getting her picture taken in front of, you know, this kind of display. And Gabs, my eldest, came over to me and she came back, she went, I've just taken Jill Scott's photo. And I went, oh, you've had your picture taken with Jill Scott? And she went, no, I took her camera, took a picture of her in front of the display. And I was like, come on, we'll go and get your picture. You can have your picture. Yeah. No, I couldn't go and have my picture, not with Jill Scott. And she was so, and part of that is the I'm a celebrity thing.
That's true.
But it's also the case that she wouldn't have been considered for I'm a Celebrity, maybe like 10 years earlier. It wouldn't have been something that was thought of. And so you start to get these kind of breakthrough people. I know you talked about Leah Williamson earlier, and then, you know, Alessia Russo has just talked about when she made when it was her transfer, when she was moved on, it was huge. It was a huge story, not as in a huge story in women's football. It was just a big transfer story.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Community questions. We've got 4 each, and I'd like you to read them all and pick one from
So
each.
do we all have
card.
different ones?
You've all got different questions.
Right, okay.
Some
Thank
are
you.
targeted to you, some aren't.
Okay.
But pick one from each card.
Right, okay. Thank you very much for all of your questions. We have got several in front of us right now. Will I start?
Yeah,
Will I start? Okay.
Go on. Yeah.
Your best sports film of all time?
Any Given Sunday.
Ah,
I love it.
You're straight in
Yeah,
there.
I love it.
Second thought.
Because I don't really like sports films. I find them annoying. My brother was in Goal. Do you remember Goal?
Was he?
Yes.
Really?
Technically, he had a role. He was captain of the reserves, but he didn't actually have anything to do with it because he got demoted and demoted and demoted until, spoiler alert, somebody's parent dies. And he has to be in the background. And his big acting moment in Goal is this. That's it. That's his big acting moment. Yeah. Hollywood did not come calling. They don't know what happened.
He was gutted, wasn't
That was
he?
it, yeah.
Oh,
But Any Given
goodness.
Sunday is my favourite.
Any Given Sunday, okay. Is it A Field of Dreams back in the day? Wasn't that the...
yes, Build It and They Will Come.
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin
I have to
Costner.
say, it's actually, exactly, it's all coming back to me just because I remember it having a real profound effect on me when I watched it, but that's like... How many years ago? That
But
must be
also,
like
in hindsight, that's a really weird film.
I think probably is. I just remember the key
remember it.
quotes and not very much else, but I remember it being a
Did
movie
he
everyone
not-
had to watch.
Yeah, but he built a baseball field for dead people.
Yeah, it was all
That's
strange,
really, it was
wasn't
weird.
I'm going to have to watch it again. But anyway, that was the
Yeah,
first
we'll
one that came to
we'll
mind.
revisit.
With the
We'll
inappropriate
revisit
storyline.
it again. Hayley, what's yours?
Oh, I don't know. If I have a little...
How about League of Their Own? I like that one as well. Having said I don't like football
Exactly.
films, having said I don't like
Escape to
sports
Bend
films.
it like Beckham.
Escape
Just
to
because it's
I did like Beckham.
It's an old classic.
Yeah, Escape to Victory. Christmassy as well.
But yeah, that's true.
But tangentially, only because it's on at Christmas, not because it's...
No, because it's nothing to do with
I have
Christmas.
strong views on Christmas films. We'll save that till
Okay,
December.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
me
no,
too.
that is
Me
very
too.
strong. I've got a top 5. It's firm. And there are arguments over which Home Alone is up there.
That's
The original. I'm going to go to Christine with this.
All right.
The most impressive person you've ever interviewed.
Oh my goodness.
Or you've been in
there's
awe
so
of someone, or someone you interviewed that you weren't expecting.
Yes. Dolly Parton. Told you of my love of Dolly Parton.
Dolly's the
She's
best.
just... And she's so petite and beautiful. And she's like a little doll. But she's this impactful kind of way of entering a room. She just comes in and everyone knows she's there. And she's a superstar. That's sort of real, you're in the presence of greatness when you're in the same room, or if you're blessed enough to actually speak with her. I did love her. But then I love my comedy people, you see. So one of the best chats ever was with Peter Kay years ago.
Yeah.
I love all my comedians. And I've got a wish list of guests. So I want Steve Carell, Will Ferrell,
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig. I kind of like all my funny actresses.
I've interviewed Will Ferrell. He was at a game that I was working on, and Jeff Shreves was at Sky at the time, and he had him in the background, and he kept saying, "Just speak to Will Ferrell," and I'm like, "I don't think we've got time." And the producer, what's going on? What's going on? And then the next thing, we're on air, and Will Ferrell gets shoved into shot, and I'm like, "Hi!" And suddenly, out of nowhere, I'm like, "Oh, sorry," my whole brain emptied. And I'm just thinking,
Elf?
I could not think. I was like, I don't know what to do. And literally, I just kept saying, "Oh, and do you like football?" And then by the end of it, the producer said to me at the time, he went, "I've never heard somebody find so many ways to go, why are you here?"
Yeah, without basically. So brilliant.
But do you like football? Do you support a team?
Oh,
do you follow it in the States? Are you an investor? It was like, literally, all you wanted to know was, why?
Absolutely.
But I think he does like football.
Yeah, well, he's involved in LA.
He is now, yeah, so he had now.
Yeah, and then Ryan Reynolds and him, he's always over with the whole Wrexham.
Watching Wrexham and
so it's all that sort of thing. So anyway, he is on the list. Maybe he can be our guest.
Yeah. But to be honest, I don't know who was more confused, him or me. The two of us were looking at each other going, "I don't know why you're here, I don't know why you're here." At least I knew who he was.
I can imagine that.
Love it, okay.
I mean, we're all on our phones all the time, isn't it? And
sorry.
I find myself, I could probably waste hours of my life if I go down the rabbit hole of funny memes and everything else. I have to come out of it because it's like I'm wasting my life here.
Are you on
but
TikTok?
I'm laughing. I'm not on TikTok. It's
Don't.
not that wouldn't be good
Hours.
for
Don't
me.
do it.
Hours
Don't
of your
do
day
it.
Can't
will
do
go.
it.
Lost.
Yeah.
Lost.
Yeah.
I
But
joined.
people are so funny though.
Didn't get it, rejoined, got hooked. I had to come off it, like wean myself off it. Yeah.
So good for you.
Hours. My little one, "Mummy, you working on your phone again?" I was, yes, very hard.
You know, Wayne Rooney's relatively famous. Well, he's famous for a lot of things, but one of the things he's famous for is his really bad tweets, because he at the beginning didn't know how to work it,
and didn't
so there
realise
were
it
all
was
the
like-
ones that was "Hi Rio, do you want picking up in the morning, pal?" And they're just amazing. The all-time classic is in there, the Whitney one. Do you remember the Whitney one? When he was like, "Whitney has passed away. R.I.P. You will live on forever. Can't believe it. I want to run to you. Really can't believe this." And then a random @ sign at the end of it, where he's just kind of heard the news and put something out on Twitter. But I love that he hasn't bothered ever to delete those tweets. He's just like, "Yeah, that's what I put."
Are they just still there?
No, they're still
Or he
there.
doesn't know how to delete them.
He
that's
just
why.
doesn't care enough to do it, which I kind of think is the level of zen you have to get to. If you're going to be on social media, you're like, "Yeah, I did that."
That's the strength you need to not
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm going to go through this highly analytical piece of information. Cheapest and most expensive pies and pints in the Premier League officially at the start of the season. They've gone up and down the grounds.
Yeah.
And I think I clung on to this just because I was very surprised to see who the cheapest club were. Who do you reckon? So for a beer, for a pint, how much do you think a pint is at a football club? I mean, they range drastically.
Pay fortunes. You can pay up to like a tenner for a pint at a ground. Some of them, depending on what the game is and where you are.
The most expensive is £6.30. The cheapest is actually £3.
Oh, really?
Bad,
£3 a pint?
£3, yeah.
That's like a student union price
Yeah, it
again
is.
now. Right, well, we all head there. Where's...
Man United.
No way.
Yeah.
Man United is...
Yeah. Hence I
need-
brought up this piece of information for us.
We should have seen that.
Yeah.
We should have seen
Up that
It's
very
the highest
soon with the
sort of
renovation
ranking in a
happening.
table they're going to get for a while, isn't
and
it?
do they do that on non-match days? Like if, for example, we wanted to do a
Don't
Christmas
know.
do or something.
They do so when I used to work at MUTV, so at the end of the games, the leftover pies would kind of come. You could smell them. They'd been brought through the concourse.
at Man United.
Yeah, and you could just smell them. So we'd just all be there like little pigs having finished work, like grabbing the pies off the trays, like we'd been locked up in the stadium for hours, but really like we'd been eating and drinking and enjoying hospitality. But you'd be there with your Balti pie. The Balti pies were good.
No,
Guess who the most
not a Balti
expensive?
pie.
Oh, I don't know. Their Balti pies were
I don't
good.
like fusion.
Okay. Right. Most expensive, who do you reckon? It's all the London clubs.
I was going to say it's got to be. Is it Arsenal? Yeah,
Arsenal,
I'm
I
thinking.
would say.
Or maybe, I tell you where might be, depending on where in the ground it is, Fulham.
Oh, it's actually West Ham.
Oh,
It's
Olympic
6:30
Stadium.
followed
it.
by Arsenal and then Chelsea. Yeah, and you can get Wolves actually comes a close second to United as
Right,
being
okay.
the cheapest, and Liverpool.
Yeah.
£4.40 for a pint. You can get a combined price of a pint at Anfield for £7.80. There you go. Really important information.
Do with that what you will.
needed.
Absolutely. It is information that we needed to know. I'm very impressed. Very impressed. Subscribe to Not Just Football and catch the show every week